It all starts off with Kopano Meet, where you see the first Material UI components popping up. Meet is a progressive web app, which means that it runs on all types of devices. So it runs on your desktop, it runs on your mobile, iOS or Android, it doesn't really matter. It uses the Material UI components, it uses React, and it also makes use of the REST API, which means you will need to install Kopano Core 8.7 to start using Kopano Meet. But it also shows the direction we're going with all our new apps. So, for example, you have this nice bar here at the top. It says Kopano Meet. There will be a similar, this is a UI feature that you will see in all the new applications. And I have a few examples that I would like to share with you. Talking about the calendar app. So this is something that the application that we got started with in terms of design first. So what you see right now and what you will see on the next slides are not working prototypes. They are actually mock-ups that we've tested with some of our UX testing group. So here you see as well the things you've also you can recognize from the Meet mockup or the Meet screenshot actually that you saw. So there's familiarity, the top bar which will look the same in all applications. There's a mobile version of this as well, and this is this button, for instance, to create a new meeting or appointment. Is something that also is the standard behavior of Material UI. So a few sneak previews. Kopano Calendar is the application that we will work on after Kopano Meet has progressed much further actually. So as Felix already shared, we're working on screen sharing right now. In the meantime, that gives us the opportunity to fine-tune the designs and fine-tune the behavior. For instance, will people be able to find the way to create a new meeting? Can they find the requests, so the incoming meeting requests? So this sounds easy, but if you keep in mind that one of the requirements to build these new applications is that they should all be able to work separate from each other. That means that you must also be able to accept a meeting request or create a meeting request without interacting with your mailbox, for example. So these are things we're tuning and tweaking now. So we have done some user testing. So we've tested the prototypes with some end users and basically asked them, hey, can you create a new meeting? And then recorded them trying to figure out how that actually works, and based on that improved the design. So this, what you see right now, is the third iteration of the design, and we expect that the fourth version of the design will actually be implemented as the first MVP. We already have a proof of concept for the technology, so we're looking at how we can actually cache this data locally, which gives you the opportunity to look at your meeting requests or meetings even though you're not connected. How will it integrate with other applications? How will it integrate with other Kopano applications? Because even though we're building all these things separately or making them available separately as separate applications, they still need to integrate. After all, it's a groupware suite that needs to work together. One thing I want to clarify a little bit. So we also, of course, we built a version for mobile devices. Actually, when you're building a progressive web app, you automatically build for different screen types and device types. So we could do this because new technologies are available. The nice thing is it gives a unified experience between different devices. So anything you change on your desktop will automatically also be present on your mobile device. Think of shared calendars that you have open. This is something that you cannot do with the native applications on your phone, but this is something that you would be able to do with the Kopano Calendar app. It also gives the opportunity to integrate the calendar app with other applications, for instance Meet, which now also works on your mobile device. So what are we doing now? As I said, we're testing designs with users. This is something that we do now, and it's something that we will also do for future applications. So we're actually looking for more people to be part of our test group. Of course, we welcome partners, but especially users at end customers. That would be great, because finally we want to build an application that 85% of our user base can actually use without looking at documentation, and will still be happy with. We are looking at how things can integrate, and we have a proof of concept in the works, but it's something you see right now. That's definitely all mockups. So Calendar is definitely furthest along when it comes to design. We also started designing Kopano Mail. So the nice thing about designing the way we're designing right now is that as you progress building new applications and building new designs, is that the library of components that you can reuse in all these other applications also grows. And this is something that we can also use in design tools, so we can make faster steps here. Of course, there's a lot of figuring out to do, but as you can see here, we already have some basic ideas on what a mail client could look like. But also here it's very important to figure out how these applications, how mail will work together with Calendar. So you need to be able to use it separately, but it would also be nice that if you get an email asking, hey, would you be able to join a meeting next week, that you can actually see what's going on next week without having to switch to another application. So this here on the right side is an example of how this could look. A simple sidebar where the Calendar app is loaded, or the list view of the Calendar app is loaded, which you can use to get a basic idea of what is going on in the next weeks. Switching between Kopano applications is also very important. I have an example of that later, but what is also nice to know is that we're also looking at integrating other applications and giving third-party software developers the possibility to also add like a shortcut to their application to the app switcher of Kopano. Design going on. We started off with this desktop variant of Kopano Mail. We built a prototype, which is definitely a prototype. So it loads email and it loads folders, but my deleted items is shown as the primary folder right now to give you an idea of where we are. But this stuff does help us develop a good application. Testing with users. Please sign up for the UX test group. We would like to add more people to this group and get feedback from them on our application stack. Almost at the end. So we have, of course, not just Kopano Mail and Kopano Contacts or Kopano Calendar, but there's a lot going on here. You see the app switcher here, which already gives you an idea of what that will look like. Finally, what will be there is a full stack of new applications for Kopano Groupware, the messaging, and also Kopano Documents product families, which work together, which can also work independently, which will be progressive web apps, which means everything will be available on different devices. This is what we are looking at right now, but all the other applications are certainly still in the ideation phase. So we learn from our experience with the Calendar and the Mail app and use this experience in the design for all the new apps. When will this all be available? Connect and Meet. Well, we're actually at the third version of the launch party right now, if you could call it that. So we have Kopano Connect available and the REST API available with Kopano Groupware Core 8.7, which has been released 3 weeks ago. And Kopano Meet has been released very shortly after that, so you can actually already use this. This would be very welcome, because also for these products, we are welcoming feedback. After Kopano Meet is done, we start working on the calendar. So you can expect, or we expect, that we will be able to deliver a first proof of concept, an MVP, which certainly will not contain all the features, in Q3, Q4 of this year. This should give you an idea of the timeline for this.